is very important, considering that the talks have been stumbling. Autonomy or independence, and does referendum come anywhere ahead of your talks in December?
I think, first of all, I should correct, I'm acting chargé d'affaires. We don't have here ambassador, so we're still waiting for the agreement from the relevant authorities of South Africa. For Morocco has proposed the autonomy, local autonomy, which is the practical solution to this issue. For referendum, I think even the UN envoys have already said that it is not practical to be carried out. Not Morocco who has blocked the referendum. Morocco has opened its doors to all the united organs to do their jobs in the Moroccan Sahara. But in the other side of Algeria, they were refused to do the population census. And we don't know who are there in the refugee camps in Algeria. Are they from Sahara, Moroccan Sahara, or from Algerian Sahara, or from where?
All right. Allow me to ask Ms. Constantinides on this issue. We know that the talks have stalled on the issue of the census, but the UN itself has undertaken various practical exercises to ensure that there's agreement. Do you agree with the ambassador that the UN has now said it's not practical?
No, I don't at all. We need to understand that there are people who have been illegally occupied for more than 4 decades. We need to understand that there is a human right violation taking place every single day. These people are Sahrawi people from Western Sahara, not Moroccan Sahara, not Algerian Sahara. They are the Sahrawi refugees from Western Sahara that have been displaced in the refugee camps. We cannot allow that the constant aggravation of the peacekeeping process of that referendum that was supposed to take place off of a promise of a ceasefire in 1991 needs to now take place. What we now see with this UN meeting that will take place in Geneva in December is a very positive step forward. We need to have all parties around the same table to start these discussions and negotiations.
Right. Sorry, I think one very important thing that we should clarify here. In the Moroccan Sahara, people are living safely. There is no thing that you have said that. What is happening that you mentioned, happening in the camp of Tindouf, not in the Laayoune or Smara, the real Smara and
Laayoune and Smara.
Yeah, but sorry, because there are 2 Laayounes, 2 Smaras, and 2 Dakhlas.
Yes.
The real one and in Morocco, and they're very, very, very nicely living. But those in the camps, because they are surrounded by the military, Algerian military, and the militia, Polisario militia, and they are closed, they are detained there. I challenge you and all others to just to open the doors of this camp, this prison, the big prison, where the detainees are there, and you will see who will stay there.
With respect, sir, sorry, there's 2 important things. The Sahrawi refugees are there because they have nowhere else to go.
How many people are there?
There are human rights violations taking place in the occupied territory of Western Sahara. Dakhla, the cities you mentioned, Dakhla, Smara, all of these cities are not Moroccan cities. These are cities of an occupied territory called Western Sahara. These are cities that have been under occupation since 1975.
Mr. Naji, let me come into that on the issue of, if we're going to talk about settlers, which is also part of the problem with the census. Now, I know the Sahara, we have questioned the issue of those settlers in Western Sahara and southern parts of Morocco, and you say these are people who are actually part of Morocco and who should be allowed to vote. But the Sahrawi completely reject this.
You said Sahrawi. Who Sahrawi? Those who are living in the camp of Tindouf, or those are living in the Moroccan Sahara? Those who are living in the Moroccan Sahara, the majority, there are more than 200,000 people. But those in the camp, there are just hundreds of people, not even thousands. So we cannot balance this. The Sahrawi in the Moroccan Sahara, they voted already in the last elections, and the highest score in the Moroccan elections are in this part, in this region. The last report of the United Nations Secretary General, he said that his envoy, special envoy, met lot of local elected representatives, and they told him that they are living very, very, very well.
Who do you accuse then, Mr. Najee, of attacking those who are in the Tindouf camps? The people that our reporter spoke to were complaining that they were hounded out of their territory of Western Sahara.
How?
And they were attacked by Moroccan army.
How? You see, when you said, because I saw something about that. You see how on 1975, when Morocco restored this region, it was not through the military, but through a civil, peaceful march called Green March.
Yes.
It says 500,000 people unarmed went there.
Constantinides, it started with the Green March, but history, according to the records, say that the Moroccan army were there. What do you know for sure? There were 3 other countries. There's Algeria, there's Mauritania. Does Morocco deserve all the blame for the situation now?
Mauritania certainly does need to be blamed for the situation as well. When Spain moved out as a pre-colonial power, they gave power over to both Mauritania and Morocco. The Green March certainly was a march. It was an armed conflict. That is why the Sahrawi people fled.
Hold the thought. We've got some social media users who are actually watching and commenting on this discussion. Let's take a look at what some of them are saying at the moment. Okay, so this one says, for decades of occupation, parties must sit around the table and talk. That's from SA Fusion. There's another one coming through. They are not doing enough. In fact, the readmission of Morocco to the AU was an endorsement of their oppressive action. Speaking about the AU and the UN here, we're asking the question, are they doing enough to protect the interests of the Sahrawi and to resolve the conflict? And let's look at the last one that's coming through. And we've got another tweet. I just want to know their Morocco side of the story. Well, we do have the charge d'affaires, the acting charge d'affaires here to talk more about it. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, hello there. You're watching African Perspective here on SABC News. We continue our conversation on Morocco and the Sahrawi, the conflict, the charge d'affaires of Morocco to South Africa. Abdelkader Najee is here with us, activist on Western Sahara. Catherine Constantinides is with us. I do apologize, Catherine. It does take a bit of a while. But I want to come back to you. The charge d'affaires here was saying, what are the figures in the Tindouf camps? Why are you, as activists who are fighting for the plight of the Sahrawi, not telling us what the numbers are?
Those numbers have become available in during the period of this year, and those numbers are available because aid depends on those numbers. It is not about hiding these numbers. However,
but
we can't. These numbers, I can't give you the official numbers, but the people in the camps are nearly 200,000 people across the 5 camps in Tindouf. And two other things I wanted to mention were the fact that MINURSO, which is Sherwin also referenced MINURSO, which is the peacekeeping envoy, does not monitor human rights in the occupied territory of Western Sahara. Our charge d'affaires does not even use the word Western Sahara. He keeps referring to Moroccan Sahara. For the negotiations and the talks in December to be successful, we need to be able to have these conversations.
We've got a tweet. Let's quickly look at that, and we'll come back to you, Mr. Najee, and see what the people are saying. And I think it's a very contentious issue. The world must stand up and protect the people of Western Sahara. Morocco must be ashamed of itself. How do you answer to that, Mr. Najee? Do you carry any blame at this point?
See, there was no country who claimed this territory before 1975. Only Morocco.
Is that really true?
Yeah,
it was
true.
Under Spain was under Spain
protectorate.
Yes,
but you should go to history itself, because Morocco. You see, Morocco is an old state. And Morocco has known or did know 3 colonizations: Spanish, French, and international in region of Tangier. So when we got our independence in 1956, we got it step by step, not at the whole. We got Sidi Ifni later, then on the
but why did Spain relinquish the Sahrawi in 1975 if that is the case?
But there was no Sahrawi. Even Polisario didn't exist before that time. It existed afterwards. So where were they before? Why didn't claim their independence before?
Why
only
isn't
one
the
that
United
time.
Nations recognized
The problem is that maybe to understand, to move to another subject. The problem is between Morocco and Algeria. The Sahrawi just they're in between. If we can discuss with the Algerians the problem, we can solve it.
So you
But
believe
Sahrawi
Algeria is the problem?
It is a problem. Algeria is the problem. It's the main stakeholder. Sahrawi is a small number. And most of them, even the former president of Polisario, Sahrawi, was Moroccan, wasn't Sahrawi. His father used to be a soldier in the Moroccan army.
Allow Catherine to, Ms. Constantinides, I see your jaw is gaping there at that point. You are clearly disputing that fact.
Absolutely. President Abdelaziz, who I knew before he passed away and worked with, would be horrified to even be claimed by the Moroccans. His family and his legacy would be horrified to be claimed by the Moroccans. In 1975, when Spain moved out as the colonial power, and there was the Green March that had to force Sahrawis to flee. Between that time and now, where we see ourselves, generations of Sahrawi people have been born in camps in the border of Algeria, but it was the only border open to Sahrawi people to flee at that time. There are people that still now, till today, were there as children when they had to flee in 1975. We have to look at what the historical facts are, and we have to understand that there is a humanitarian crisis in the refugee camps as we speak, and there is also the Sahrawi people that are in the occupied territory of Western Sahara are facing torture.
Let's talk about now the real question, the AU and the United Nations, because this is one of the stickler points. Are they doing enough? You're saying, Mr. Najee, that Algeria is a problem. You're saying that the UN has never recognized the people of the Sahrawi, including their bid for self-actualization. But as of 2017, the UN never recognized Moroccan sovereignty over the Sahrawi. Are they doing enough to bring you together?
I think the problem resides in Algeria, not in the IU or in UN, in Algeria. If the Algerian regime wants to solve the problem, it is solved.
What should they do to solve the problem?
It's easy. Just recognize the mistake that they did
Which
before,
is what?
That they create Polisario. You see, the issue of Sahara is the problem of the Cold War. We belong to 2 blocks. The Soviet, the Communist, and maybe the American or the West, or etc. So that was the problem, and still persisting now, because we didn't understand, or the Algerian regime didn't understand that. Time comes to understand that what is ideological is
Okay,
out.
let's quickly read this tweet that has come through, and then we'll come back to you, Ms. Constantinides. The Moroccans are trying to cover up that they are the last colonizers in Africa. They should be held accountable, and the Western Sahara should be given back to the people of Western Sahara, the Sahrawi people. Ms. Constantinides, has the AU, have the UN done enough? Because it would seem, according to observers, at some point they fluctuate in terms of whom they lend their support to? Are they being consistent?
They have not been consistent. There has been no political will to solve the outstanding issue of Western Sahara. The issue and conflict of Western Sahara is the longest outstanding issue on the UN agenda. Second to that, when we come to the African Union, this is an African problem that should have been dealt with decades ago by the African Union. But in early 2017, when the readmission of Morocco back into the fold of African Union happened, there were no terms and conditions. A huge fault, a huge body with no teeth to solve African problems. We need to scratch at the surface of where funding comes from for a body such as the African Union. We can then understand the agenda that is put forward and what is dealt with.
Which is certainly a question we'll need to ask at some point. In a word, Mr. Naji, do you want the language changed at those talks in Geneva? Do you want any changes made to the text before you negotiate?
I think there is some good news that the UN and especially envoy, or personal envoy, has involved Algeria. So it's a very good step, because Algeria is the main stakeholder. But there is one thing. You said that there is the last colony in Africa. But if I follow that logic, there is something else. There is Kabylie in Algeria, the Republic of Kabylie, Algeria. Also, it's not thousands, but millions. You know that 8 million, they are looking, and also the Caprivi Strip in Namibia. So
I'm going to have to leave it there. It's a great discussion.
Yeah, but it's the same.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time. The charge d'affaires of Morocco to South Africa, Mr. Abdelkader Naji and Catherine Constantinides, who is an activist on the people of Sahrawi. Well, that's African perspective for now. We'll be back in just a moment. But just to let you know, next week we take a look at Ethiopia's Prime Minister's appointment of the new cabinet that is half female, putting women in charge of security positions, including that of defense and peace and security.